Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. As we continue with Part 17, The Apocalypse, Book 3, Christian Initiations, from Secret Societies of All Ages, Volume 1 by Charles William Heckethorn, 2, The Apocalypse, 134, The Apocalypse. This book, hitherto accepted as one of genuinely Christian authorship, is now by competent critics received in its main substance, and throughout by far the greater part of it as a purely Jewish composition. In fact, as a Jewish apocalypse put into a Christian dress after the fall of Jerusalem, AD 70. The first 3 chapters are Christian, of course, but in the 4th chapter the book begins again, and from that to the end, with the exception of a few short passages, which are interpolations, all is purely Jewish, or rather a medley of occidental, Judaic, and sectarian doctrines. The bulk of the work is a description of the pagan mysteries, which the Christianizing adapter transforms into those of the Christian myth. To the latter, it is what the golden ass of Apuleius and the 6th book of Virgil is to the pagan mysteries, from which its whole machinery is borrowed. The woman clothed with the sun, standing upon the moon and symbolizing the true church, is the Egyptian Isis. The attack upon the woman and her offspring by the deluging serpent, which is frustrated by the earth's absorption of the water, is perfectly analogous to the attack of the diluvian serpent Python upon Osiris or Latona or Horus, which is similarly frustrated by the destruction of that monster. The false church bearing the name of mystery, of course referring to the pagan mystery, floating on the waters or riding on a terrific beast and ultimately plunged into the infernal lake, exhibits the very same aspect as the great mother of paganism, sailing over the ocean, riding on the lion, venerated with certain mysteries, and during their celebration plunged into the waters of a sacred lake, denominated the Lake of Hades. St. Paul himself personates an aspirant about to be initiated, and accordingly the images presented to his mind's eye closely resemble the pageants of the mysteries. The prophet first beholds a door opened in the magnificent temple of heaven, and into this he is invited to enter by one who plays the Hierophant. Here he witnesses the unsealing of the sacred book, and immediately he is assailed by a troop of ghastly apparitions. Among these are preeminently conspicuous a vast serpent, the well-known symbol of the Great Father, and 2 wild beasts, severally coming up out of the sea and out of the earth. Such hideous figures correspond with the canine phantoms in the orgies and with the polymorphic images of the principal hero god, who was universally deemed the offspring of the sea. Passing these terrific monsters in safety, the prophet, constantly attended by his angel Hierophant, is conducted into the presence of a female, and like Isis emerging from the sea and exhibiting herself to the eyes of the aspirant Apuleius, this female divinity, upborne upon the marine wild beast, appears to float upon the surface of many waters. She is said to be an open and systematic harlot, just as the Great Mother was the declared female principle of fecundity, and as she was often propitiated by literal fornication reduced to a religious system, and as the initiated were made to drink a prepared liquor out of a sacred goblet, so this harlot is represented as intoxicating the kings of the earth with the golden cup of her prostitution. On her forehead the very name Mystery is inscribed. Its nature the officiating Hierophant undertakes to explain. To the sea-born Great Father was ascribed a 3-fold state. He lived, he died, and he revived, and these changes of condition were duly exhibited in the mysteries. To the sea-born wild beast is similarly ascribed a 3-fold state. He lives, he dies, and he revives. While dead, he lies floating on the mighty ocean, just like Horus or Osiris or Siva or Vishnu. When he revives, he emerges from the waters, and whether alive or dead, he bears 7 heads and 10 horns, numbers that have their prototypes in the mysteries, 18, etc. And as the worshippers of the Great Father bore his special mark and were distinguished by his name, so the worshippers of the maritime beast equally bear his mark and are equally designated by his appellation. At length, the first or doleful part of these sacred mysteries draws to a close, and the last or joyful part is rapidly approaching. After the prophet has beheld the enemies of God plunged into a dreadful lake or inundation of liquid fire, which corresponds with the infernal lake or deluge of the Egyptian mysteries, he is introduced into a splendidly illuminated region expressly adorned with the characteristics of that paradise which was the ultimate scope of the ancient aspirants. while without the holy gate of admission are the whole multitude of the profane sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth or maketh a lie. But first of all dogs, i.e. the uninitiated, the cowens of Freemasonry. For some modern thinkers, the apocalypse has neither meaning nor value. 135. Pagan impostors. The spread of Christianity produced also many opponents to it, either avowed or secret. The latter, however, in most cases desired to see paganism reformed, not abolished. Though rejecting Christianity, they attempted to form a sort of Christianized paganism. Clever impostors in those days reaped a rich harvest from the credulity of mankind, and sects without end sprang up. Two of the most successful leaders of such were Apollonius of Tyana and Alexander of Abonotikos. Their doctrines, ceremonies and tricks in mystery-mongering were largely founded on the religious and philosophical charlatanism of Pythagoras. They had their day and passed away to be constantly resuscitated. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe and comment, and if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.